Hello, guys. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for watching this on the replay. If you're watching it on the replay, today I'm going to have on Lisa from Our Georgia Suburban Homestead, and I do have her link pinned at the top of the chat if you're not friends with her. It'll take a few minutes for people to get in.
Hey, well, I was sitting here thinking I was in the studio and I wasn't.
Oh, really? Uh-oh. Yeah, I thought, well, she must be busy with what she's doing. Hi, Adrian. Are you coming back to YouTube? I hope you are.
Adrian, I miss you.
Yeah, me too. Here for the talk. All right, cool. Her Christmas card came back to me literally a few days ago, and I went back to her channel to see if she had made any videos recently, and she really hasn't for 5 months, but she's been posting on her community tab. So if you go read her community tab, you can kind of see what's going on. Oh, she can't hear me yet because she's in the ads. Okay. When you're in here, Adrian, say hello and we'll know you're here.
Yeah, I don't know if I know how to go to a community tab or how to use one even.
Oh, you don't use your community tab?
I never know how to do that.
What?
I need a good friend to take me by the hand and say, "This is what we do."
This is what we do. Oh my gosh. I got to look at your community tab too to see if it's there and just sitting there. Now I'm curious. So I always wonder why people don't use it. I guess it's because they don't know how. It says this channel hasn't posted yet. So like if you're on somebody's video and you want to share it, you go right, like if I'm clicking on your video right here, I'm going to stop it for a second. Right underneath your video are the words like, share, remix, blah, blah, blah. Just hit the word share, right? And then it says create post. You go on to create post and then you just type a few words before it. I'm just going to check out this video just because I can't think of anything right now, but and then you hit post and it posted it on my community tab.
Okay, so now this live is on our community tab.
Well, this live is on our community tab, but this was another video you did that I just posted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so try that out. And if you want me to type it out for you, like in Word, so you can follow it, I can do that too. Adrian, I was telling her that your Christmas card came back. So that reminded me to go check out your channel, and it showed no video posted. So I said, well, let me look at her community tab. So I went to her community tab. So like when you're on your phone, it has the listings, home, video, shorts, live, playlist, community tab. So to look to see what's on somebody's community tab, you just hit community and that'll show. Of course, yours didn't have anything, but normally there'd be a whole bunch of stuff there that person shared. And it could be personal stuff too, like updates about your health, or it's a terribly rainy, foggy, cold day, or whatever you want to say. Hello, G Mama Gross. We were just saying how we missed you, Adrian, and we were hoping you were going to come back to YouTube. So,
yeah, Adrian, what's up, man?
Yep. So we miss you. So if you want your link shared, you just type Dolphin in the chat for anybody who wants their link shared. I will be back soon. Are you coming back this gardening season? I was wondering I was wondering if she's going to come back for gardening season possibly this year. Yep.
Adrian got me started. She was like one of my first guests and one of the few people that have actually said they'd come be a guest. So when are you going to come be a guest on my channel, Gail?
I guess. Well, what day do you do your lives on?
We do lives, or I do lives, Thursdays, the first Thursday and the third Thursday at 9 o'clock my time, which is 8 o'clock your time.
Yeah, I don't have any conflict with Thursdays. No clawfoot for Thursdays.
We're done for
As a matter of fact, somebody asked me to come be on their live, and the date that they sent me happened to be a date I didn't have somebody pick. So I went ahead and decided to go on their live instead of doing my own live just that one night because I didn't have anything set up yet. But I pretty much have the next 5 guests set up. I have January 30th. We're going to talk about coupons with Katahdin Mountain Mama. And on February 6th, we're going to do garden talk with Bare Bones Living.
Cool.
And on February 13th, we're going to do garden talk with Urban Harvest. And on February 22nd, we're just going to have some laughs with the Yellow Shirt Dad. And then on March 5th, I'm going to do coupon talk with Milk and Honey Heritage Farms. So I'm going to try to get back into talking about couponing on this channel. Provided it does well, I might do 1 video a month. If it does well, then maybe 2. We'll see how it goes. So one of my friends suggested, when you did that before, you were a smaller channel. So maybe if you did it now, it might go over a little better. So we're going to give it a shot.
Okay, everyone put your thumbs up here. That helps the algorithm and helps Gail out, if you don't mind.
We'll be gardening this year. Yes, me too. I had my garden plan all done, and then I decided to do the survival seeds challenge thing put out by the Vineyard Chicks. So then I had to move my whole entire garden plan around. I did that last night, moving it all. I should have did it in pencil. That would make it so much easier.
So we shot our what seeds are we choosing to start this year video last night. And I haven't edited it, but I'll be doing that probably tomorrow. And I guess I better go ahead and get it out, but I've got all my video days booked up for the rest of the month.
Yeah. I've been trying to post mostly on Monday through Friday. I kind of give myself a little bit of leeway on Saturday and Sunday. And if I just happen to have something left over, I might try to put that on Saturday or Sunday. Or if I made a short sometime during the week, I'll put that on Saturday.
Well, I've got to do another video just for my peppers. You know me and my peppers, right? Hot peppers. Hot pepper chip here.
Funny. Yeah. So what's your advice on someone who's not good at growing peppers, aka me?
Well,
what am I doing wrong? What's missing for peppers?
And I have seasonal coughs. My bronchitis is brought on by temperature changes. So please excuse me in advance.
No, that's fine.
Different types of peppers have different requirements. And what I have found is if you're going super exotic rainforest hot, like peppers from the Pacific Rim or from super intensely hot countries, is that you need to start them like now. Mm-hmm. But they need a heating mat and a grow light, and they'll only germinate like in the high 70s to low 80s.
Yeah, I only have
without a fluctuation in temperature. So that's the trick. And that can take up to 40 days or 45 days to germinate.
Well, I'm starting it before my soil is at that temperature. Is that probably what the problem is?
Heating mat. If you're doing
no, I mean, I'm in Texas. I can just start mine outside. I have a long growing season.
Not these.
Well, mine are usually mild to medium, okay. And they're not like my most important thing in the garden. But I do want to be able to grow them successfully. You know,
the milder peppers. What do you consider mild? Mild to medium. What types of peppers?
Mild is like banana peppers. Medium is like jalapeno. Okay. Hot is like habanero.
All right. I'm talking the super hots that make you want to dig a hole and fall into it.
No.
Okay. We're to the habaneros and higher.
No, I'm not in that.
They need
like way down here.
But the others will germinate at about 70 to 75 degrees. So you still will do best if you start them with some underheat to heat up that soil and hold it at a steady
When is your last frost date for your area?
We could just got rezoned.
Oh, you did?
USDA, I'm sorry, decided that we are zone 8 instead of 7B now. Let's see.
I don't know. All of a sudden, they started changing a lot of areas to say 8 that seemed to me to still be too cold to be an 8. But
yeah,
what do I know?
We've had a colder winter this year than we've had since we moved here in 2014. I mean, last year we had 7 below 0, but just for 2 or 3 days, and then it went back to like the normal range. But this winter, we've had a lot of days below 20, already sustained temperatures in the low 20s or below 20. So my last frost date used to be the end of the first week of April, but the USDA is now saying it'll be March 20th this year. So I've got to get a move on and getting these peppers in. They'll be in by next Sunday.
Climate change, global warming. That's what she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. These areas, some of these areas that are saying they're 8s now, I'm still thinking they're a little too cold to be 8s. But what do I know? What do I know?
Well,
I only have limited space under my grow light, so I have to be real particular about what I put under there.
Well, one. Do you have a lot of stuff on top of your refrigerator? Yeah.
Probably more than I should.
Yeah, well, same here. But if you don't want to go to the expense of a heating mat, you can put your tray on top of your refrigerator. Mm-hmm. Okay, because the refrigerator's on all the time, and it keeps the top there kind of warm. So you can put some of your things like your peppers and things that need a little bit warmer to come up, tomatoes, peppers, and trays on top of your refrigerator, and keep your kitchen light on, and then you should be fine.
Yeah.
If
there was a plug around that area, I would actually put a grow light up there and try to grow something up there. But you know what? That cabinet has been closed so long, I'm not even sure what's in it. There's 2 cabinets right above the refrigerator. I don't know what's in there.
I have stuff up there I don't use.
Actually, okay, I do know one thing. One of them is a food processor. And I only use that food processor to make egg rolls. Because that's the only time I ever have to get anything that finely chopped. Everything else I use my KitchenAid for, or my blender. I mean, KitchenAid's pretty good, but I think there's something missing in my soil, though, as far as the peppers go.
What kind of starting medium are you using?
Let's see. Let me see if I can find the bag real quick. Hold on.
Hey y'all. While Gail's gone, I'm gonna do a little advertisement. My other channel, I Died NDE. We have a premiere coming up at 9:00 this coming Thursday, followed by a live discussion where I would like people to come, like open mic, come up on the panel and talk about if you have any similar experiences. But we're going to be talking about seeing ghosts. And Gail's back. I am not familiar with that. What's the blend?
Like what kind of stuff does it have in it?
Mm-hmm.
Does it say, like, it came from the local gardening center? Like, it's a small town, but we have a little gardening center place. It came from there. Came from Canada, I can tell you that. Let's see.
So it probably has peat moss in it.
Well, it says product of Canada, but down here it says Texas. So I'm already confused. I mean, it doesn't even know where they're at.
Hey, Tiffany.
Yeah,
Blackberry rock.
Something some kind of peat moss that starts with SDH. Horticultural perlite, limestone, dolomite, for adjusting the pH.
Okay, so sphagnum peat moss.
Yeah,
that's where the peat moss bogs are, is Canada. Vermiculite adds some puffiness, if you will. I put a lot of vermiculite in my Pro Mix and make it very, very light. And you want it so if you pour some moisture on it that it just barely sticks together. You want it very light and fluffy.
Yeah, so you would add vermiculite to this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do have a heating mat, so I could try some peppers under my grow light. I could do that.
Do you have a thermostat to control your temperature?
On the heating mat?
Yeah.
No, I don't think mine's that fancy.
Well, Amazon sells them. They're not very expensive. In fact, let me see. You see that?
Yeah, I don't.
Did you read it? This unit has one part that plugs into that connects with the heating mat, and the other part that connects to power source. And you use these buttons to set what you want the bottom temperature to be. And the thermostat will control that so that you don't fry your seeds. A heating mat without a thermostat, without some sort of control, very likely can overheat your seeds and cook them. Instead of germinating them, you cook them. So that may be a reason you've had some problems in the past. Inconsistent heat, inconsistent moisture. You want them moist but not wet until they start germinating. Then you back off on the watering because peppers don't like wet feet. And a good source of light.
Let me ask him real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you grow your stuff under the grow light, or do you put them straight outside? And I'm asking him because he's close to my grow zone. This guy right here.
What is your grow zone?
8A.
So we're the same.
But also, he's also close to me in proximity, mileage. Like we're close. Like our territory. Like you're in a whole other state.
We're kind of parallel.
Right. Whereas he
doesn't have to be close and like neighbors are the next town over, but you're on the same latitude, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
So our growing seasons and our environment aren't that different.
Never vermiculite.
Anyway,
I've purchased perlite and vermiculite. I've purchased both of those before. I've purchased all of those. I don't know.
So I use the Jim Duffy method sometimes with the really hot peppers, and I soak the pepper seed in rainwater overnight. Rainwater. You don't want to use tap water. You want to use rainwater because it helps break down the outer protective covering of the seed, whereas the tap water has all those chemicals in it that poison us. But I soak that, and then I put like a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of vermiculite, but it's got to be horticultural grade vermiculite, not the stuff you get from the big box stores. You have to actually go on Amazon and order horticultural grade vermiculite.
How Lori's World.
Okay. So I put a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of that, put the seeds down on top of it, and then just sprinkle enough vermiculite on the top, just so you can't see the seeds. And then you pour the water in from one corner. So you'll see the vermiculite change color. And put a little bit so the water's sitting a little bit above the top level of the seed. I put the dome on it, put it on the heating mat, and I don't water it again until maybe 2 weeks later. And then it's just with a mister. Mm-hmm. So the seed will go ahead and come up, and once it's got more than just the 2 leaves, the first 2 leaves that come up when the seed germinates, and then you see the teeny tiny little grown-up leaves starting to come, then I'll transplant them to a mixture of anyway, that's how I do it. And I learned that from Jim Duffy at Refining Fire Chilies, who's been coaching me on how to grow the more difficult finicky peppers.
I'm thinking about growing, soaking my pumpkin seeds overnight. I have bought some of those super giant pumpkin seeds. There's absolutely no purpose in the world for me to grow these pumpkins except for I just want to. I just want to say I did it, right?
Yeah.
Like that big buck hanging on the wall there that my brother, taxidermy for me. I just want to say that I did it, you know what I mean? And I've grown regular sized pumpkins, regular and white pumpkins and, fancy bumpy gourds and stuff, but never a really big one. It's always been just like normal, like what you would buy at Walmart or grocery store or whatever, just a normal sized pumpkin.
You won't believe what I ordered. I mean, I haven't ordered that much seed this year because I've been collecting my own seed. But when I got shopping for my winners for my channel, the giveaways I do every time I do the lives, I found, you see a seed and you go, okay, I gotta have to do that. Black pumpkins.
I never heard of that before.
I haven't either, but we shall see. Stay tuned. We'll see if they grow.
I took all of my bumpy gourds and my white princess pumpkins and all that stuff, and I take them after they sit on my front porch as decoration. I take them, I put them out in the wild garden and throw, leaves and stuff on top of them and compost all around them and everything. And I just let them come up on their own. So that's why it's called the wild garden. So I recycle and it just grows back up. So
our old pumpkins and gourds go to feed the chickens. I love them.
Yeah. I do that. I do some of that too, feeding them to the chickens. But let's see.
Sandita Seed Company is great pepper variety. I'm kind of a nutcase when it comes to peppers. Jim Duffy's site, I used to buy just about everything from them. And then I got this crazy idea to feature a different part of the world every year. Mm-hmm. And so I've done now, started with Africa, then I went to Asia, and then I went to the Middle East. And this year I'm doing India. So I'll have a lot of fun researching what grows within that region and start looking at recipes and things. And I had to fill out a customs form in order to be able to import seeds. So my seeds are coming from overseas. So they're pure. They haven't been hybridized or anything overseas. They're actually from the people who use them in their cuisine. I do a lot of Indian cooking, so I can't wait to grow these this year. And then I'll grow something that I've grown previous years that I enjoyed. And I've got a patch of peppers I grow for restaurants, like my Scotch bonnets for the Jamaicans. So I'm a nut.
Yeah.
I'm a nut. I go overboard on everything that I do. So what do you?
I go a little overboard too on certain things. Well, the packet I ordered from MI Gardener only had 3. So I'm going to try the seed itself is like that big. So I'm going to make mounds for them. I'm going to try to grow them in a mound method. I've seen somebody do that over in Australia. That was really
that's how we used to do it in England.
Yeah, it was somebody over in Shed Wars, and they were growing theirs in a mound, and I really wanted to do that. So since I only have 3 seeds, I want to make 3 separate mounds. I started one last year, and I'm going to do 2 more. So I only have 3 seeds. So I'm going to have 3 mounds, and I'm going to have to split them apart from each other because, it's also by the wild garden. So that's why, it gets vine crazy back there. When I say wild, I mean wild. Hello, Ariella. I don't know if I said hi to her or not. So, but But yeah, sometimes I like to grow stuff just as a challenge. So the pumpkins are just for a challenge.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of Jim Duffy personally.
Okay, you know what? I just typed it into. Let me look up the URL. It won't let me post a URL, will it? StreamYard won't, because I'm not the host, right?
You're a moderator, aren't you? Are you a moderator?
No, I'm just a member.
Well, if you're a member, you should be a moderator.
That's up to you, my love.
That's how I see it.
Okay, I'm sending you something in private chat.
Let's see. Type of words. It just shows you. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Add as moderator. Oh, there we go. Okay, you're a moderator now.
I am a moderator. I've been promoted. That's cool.
You've been promoted. You have. There you go.
Okay.
Okay. I added a few new moderators while I was at it. That's why I like having my phone next to me, because it's easy to add mods. Hello, Mary King. Welcome in. Type Dolphin in the chat if you want to drop your link. And if you have a community tab, if you'll post this live on your community tab, that would be helpful.
I am now a standard moderator for this channel. Okay.
Standard moderator. What does the other moderator mean anyway? What's the other moderator for?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, who knows?
I don't know. The other one, I don't know what the other moderator is for. Until I can figure it out, I don't want to assign it to anyone because I don't know what it means. I planted orange seeds the other day. What? Lori's
grow citrus from seed. I grow citrus from cuttings.
Yeah. Well, I have elderberry to go this year. Hopefully.
Thanks for reminding me. I've got to go make cuttings of my elderberry. I've had people ask me for cuttings now 2 years in a row, and I always forget. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy. I get so busy. I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm glad you can't see my desk. You think it's a mess behind me. There's no room on my desk for anything.
I see a cage.
Yeah, that's.
And then I see. Is that thing down there? Is that seeds? I know I've seen you pull that out before. The thing below the cage, is that seeds?
Is there a couple of those are needle felting right now. Remember, I started doing pop-up markets or.
I was like, I know you showed me that container, but I was trying to remember what was in it.
I've got all sorts of boxes of things, and then I forget what's in them, and the labels fall off, and it's a mess. But right now, I'm like, before we went live, I've been sitting here making bling pens. You see those?
Oh, I like those. Yeah.
And for the craft shows.
Those are neat. Those are pretty similar to what they make the pokey tools. You know, for the crafting channels, make those pokey tools that have all those cool little ornament things on the end.
These are rollerball pens.
Yeah, that's cool. That's neat.
And I'm needle felting dryer balls, felt balls. Have you ever seen those? It's the ball like this that's just solid wool, and you throw them in the dryer, and it helps your clothes dry faster, so you use less energy to dry them. It collects any lint that happens to be in the machine, gets attracted to this ball, and becomes part of the ball. You can put essential oils on it to scent your dryer.
Your clothes.
So scent your clothes, right? And I'm also doing felted soap, which is just a bar of soap covered with wool felt.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm a nut. And then I'm doing resin.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do resin, but I don't know if I will. I need to continue with my soap making before I start anything new.
Oh, I didn't see you wearing protective gear. You need to protect yourself.
Even when you're doing melt and pour?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Because everybody else said the opposite. I was like, do I need to do this, and this with melt and pour? They're like, nah.
Did you hear what Charlie says? Just wait till you get some of that in your eye. You'll know.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I have glasses, so
Okay.
hopefully. No, I mean, I have goggles, but if I put the goggles on, I won't be able to see what I'm doing. So that may not be good either. But
I'm
I
just,
do have all that stuff for when I start the lie. But I wanted to finish all the melt and pour things before I start the lie. Because some people that bought me the soap base bought the melt and pour, not knowing it wasn't for the code process, it was for melt and pour. So,
yeah, Urban Harvest is observing that the resin is super expensive. Yes, and you should have seen all the molds that I bought to make all sorts of different. There he goes laughing again. But again, I'm preparing things to sell, so I've got to have a variety, right?
yeah, I like the pins. I think those will be good sellers.
So
I am enjoying the soap making so far. I just did I just did a melt and pour so far.
goat. Have you used goat milk soap before?
That's that one that I did was a goat milk soap base.
Right. Well, you'll get the most wonderful bubbles and suds.
I left out one bar for myself to try, but I want to get like a soap dish so that when I wash my hands, it won't like disintegrate everywhere. I want to get like a nice little soap dish. So I haven't started using it yet.
Okay, I
But
need
I
to.
want to try one. So I haven't tried it yet, but I want to. What's that?
I'm going to do a video soon. I promise. If you don't see it, nudge me to remind me I said I'd do it. Of the felted soap that I'll be making to sell, not to sell you one, but to show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And basically, you're applying felt over the top of those beautiful soap bars that you've made, which will sit in your soap dish and not do the scummy thing. Okay. It helps you, what's the term, exfoliate, because you're rubbing the felted soap over your skin when you bathe. It's harder to drop. It's not slimy. It doesn't run away from you in the shower if you do have to drop it.
That's cool.
It's antibacterial. The wool is, and as the soap bar shrinks inside the felt shrinks with it. So you end up finally, when the soap is gone, with like a disc of the pretty felt that you've made, and you just throw that in the dryer like you would the felted dryer balls. So
That's
it's
interesting.
live. So I'll do a video on that. And
yeah, tag me on it so I can be sure to watch it.
No more grungy soap gunk in a bowl, you know.
My mom bought me a soap making kit thing that came with a shea butter soap base, but it came with oatmeal.
Oh, that's good too.
And I'm guessing you melt it and then you put it and then you mix the oatmeal in. I'm guessing, right? I don't know.
Say that again. You melt it and then you do what?
Then you put the oatmeal in it. Because it didn't, I read the directions and it did not say when to put the oatmeal in.
I do mine from scratch when I do soap. And when you mix it into it before you pour it into the mold, you mix it in and then you put your scent.
Yeah.
And I heard you say on your video, see, I watch your videos. I may not always comment, but I watch.
Hey, I'm a beginner. I know I probably did something.
I'm usually doing something like this while I'm listening and not typing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But 11 drops seems like an awful lot of scent.
Oh.
I do everything by weighted scale.
Yeah.
So I have to go figure it out.
I'll be able to tell when I go to use my first bar, you know, like I'm like at a practicing phase right now. I actually sold 2 bars to my sister, and then I gave 1 bar away to one of my egg customers, somebody that buys eggs from me on a regular basis. As a thank you, but also to show her, hey, you know, here you go. But anyway.
But I've never done the melted way. I always just mix my chemicals.
Yeah, well, I intended to do that, but some of the people buying me stuff for Christmas did not know what they were doing, nor did I know.
Oh, it's all good. It's just different
Yeah,
methods.
yeah. I'm just saying. So it's kind of a practice. I'm using the melting board that was already purchased as my practicing phase.
Then you've got with the soap that I make, I have to let it cure for 6 to 10 weeks before it's firm enough and actually done setting up.
That's what I'm guessing the time frame is for the cold process soap, right? Yeah. Whereas melting pour isn't that long, I don't think.
No. But anyway, we've gotten off topic for gardening.
Yeah.
What are you planting right now for spring? Your late winter, early spring crops.
I don't usually do any winter gardening. I take a break in the winter. I'm about to start a few things under the grow light, but I have a limited time. I have a limited space because I have one grow light. So I have to decide what's the most important thing to me. So I have to do that soon because everybody's saying, you got to have this started. You got to have this started. And I have to decide what I'm going to put under there but most of the stuff I can just plant it straight in the ground because it gets warm here quick.
Yeah, instead of easing into spring or easing into fall and then easing into winter, it's like someone throws a light switch here. But the last couple of years, we've gone directly from very cold to very warm, with none of that transitional temperatures that I was used to seeing as a younger person. So with the changes in climate, we can expect big temperature swings, with the swinging to the cool being less and fewer and fewer days that are cool. So we're going to have to adapt when we plant things and what we can grow. And this is what scares me the most about the fewer chill hours, because a lot of our fruits and foods, the seeds need chill hours, or the fruit trees need chill hours. And just 2 or 3 days in intense cold isn't chill hours. Chill hours is like a month and a half of, temperatures below a certain. And we're not getting that anymore.
There's things like trying to grow inside some of my raised beds right now because it gets warm sometimes in Texas in between the cold. Yeah. So it's confused right now, as to whether it's supposed to be growing or not growing. So I covered some of the beds so that it would tell it, hey, not right now, not yet. Hold on.
We have hoops over our raised beds so that we can pull plastic over and kind of hold in some warmth. And I've done that every winter until this winter, just as an experiment, because some of the cruciferous vegetables out there, which are your kales, cabbages, collards, those type of broccoli, cauliflower, are supposed to take rather low temperatures. The kale is supposed to be able to freeze and come back. In fact, it tastes better once it has frozen. So
I did used to grow that in the winter on my front porch in a potting soil bag that's been cut out like a picture frame. Mm-hmm. I've done that before. I didn't do that this year, but I have done that. And it grows perfectly well in Texas on the front porch. Every once in a while, you might have to throw a clear tote over the top of it. But yeah, most of the time it'll grow here.
Well, I haven't protected mine at all this year. And those plants, even the bok choy, are still growing. I mean, the collards and the kale and some of the broccoli are kind of like, deformed looking, totally shocked, but they're not dead. The fava beans that I planted, I thought I'd lost them a couple of times, but then they sprung back up by the end of the day. And this week we're going into the upper 50s, lower 60s during the day, and down to the mid 40s at night, 40s to 50s. So I'll be very, very curious to see what bounds back, what continues to grow. And then I'm expecting it to crash again at least twice more before Easter. So.
Yeah. I've seen the kale bounce back before on my front porch. I didn't decide to do it this year. Sometimes I have to take a break. I get tired of one thing and I have to go on and do something else. But
Yeah.
now I'm tired of making cooking videos and I'm ready to get onto the gardening. So it's like, okay, we're
A
ready.
lot of my videos are upcoming because, as I say, I only release the longer videos on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and I try to do shorts in between. And I got lucky; I've done several stew videos because that's what we eat this time of year, is throw it in a pot, right?
Yeah.
And I've gotten so I really rely on the Instant Pot. I really love my Instant Pot.
Yeah.
And I got looking at the videos after I've got them lined up now to go ahead and publish, and all the stew looks the same.
Well, just spread it out a little. It'll be all right.
Did you see my video on camel? Uh-oh. All of a sudden the sound's out. No sound?
Sure. Sometimes I'll go watch a video and then I'll put 2 or 3 more in the watch later list. So technically my computer has watched it, but I maybe have not. And that's what I do for everybody.
Okay, so there's a lot of refugees in this area, and I spend a lot of my free time. You do your ministry, I do my ministry through refugee aid. And there's a town here called Clarkston that has, I think, the highest concentration of refugees in the United States. So they have all sorts of countries represented. And there's a plaza with all sorts of shops, clothing, food, hair, to go get your hair done, that caters to Somalia. It's called Somali Plaza. Mm-hmm. So you get some beautiful Islamic things with hijabs, and the women can go get their hair done and whatever. But I've known for some time that they offered camel meat. And I'm always up to trying something new. So I decided, well, I'll go buy some camel meat. It's supposed to be very good for you, as good, if not better for you than venison is, because it's very low in fat. Mm-hmm. And I went in $26 a pound. And I bought 2 pounds, brought it home. I found 2 or 3 recipes that looked good to me. Only had all the ingredients for the Moroccan version, which was actually a Sephardic Jewish recipe that they make at Passover. It uses prunes and apricots with all those wonderful spices that they use in North Africa. So I made that, and it smelled absolutely wonderful. And then I went to eat it, and it tasted like beef. It's just nothing like when you eat goat or lamb, you're eating a different meat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, that's just like beef. And then Charlie got the worst GI. Can you say butt trumpet?
Oh.
The walls were shaking. I mean, and it lasted 3 days. And he goes, I don't know if it's all the prunes or the camel or whatever. So we're going to have to try. And then a day later it hit me. But we're going to have to try camel one more time, but do the Lebanese version, which looks more like a kebab. But,
like a kebab. Wow, tastes like beef. Okay, well, at least it doesn't taste like chicken, because everybody's always saying, tastes like chicken, tastes like chicken. We've been watching that Hell's Kitchen, and they put on a blindfold and earphones, and they have to try something and tell what it is. So sometimes it'll be something simple, like a potato, and you're going, they're going to know what a potato is. No. And it'd be like a carrot that's cooked with a little butter in a pan, like your grandma would make. They didn't know what the carrot was. Then it'd be like bok choy, and it'd be like chicken, or, something so common. And you're like, what? How do they not know what that is? But they don't.
Okay. Can we talk a little bit about wildlife in the garden?
Sure.
I noticed chat has come to a stop. So either everyone's asleep, totally bored, or totally fascinated. So y'all let me know that y'all are awake and listening to us.
Does anybody have any wildlife or bugs in their garden? Did they have any last year in their garden while we're talking about this? Tell us what kind of critters you have in your yard.
Now, of course, I rehab wildlife, so I welcome wildlife, and I've learned to live with it. Everything has a purpose. My squirrels don't chew on my tomatoes, and they don't chew on my cucumbers because I put feeding stations throughout the garden, and I leave them treats. And when they're biting into your tomatoes and your cucumbers, what they're really looking for is moisture. So if you put little watering stations around your garden, they'll go to that hopefully before they go to the garden. Now the groundhogs will go in and eat everything. Are you familiar with Chunk the groundhog, that channel?
No.
This guy, I want to say he's in New Jersey, had a problem with a groundhog that had moved under his shed, going in and eating all his vegetables. And he tried putting a fence around his garden, and groundhogs climb trees, so fences aren't going to stop them, or they go under the fence. He tried all sorts of barriers, and finally he just dedicated a garden to Chunk. Chunk has his own garden, and he put like a picnic table, little miniature picnic table out for a kid, and he sets the table with whatever garden clippings he has, and he's got a camera on filming him. So Chunk, he took such good care of Chunk. Chunk went and got his wife and brought his wife in, and now they're had a family. So now he's got this whole family of Chunks. Anyway, it's funny. I'm going to look up a video while you talk a little bit. Let's see.
Last year, I had a whole bunch of cantaloupes in my garden. I must have planted them and planted them and planted them again, right? Because it's out in the wild garden. So I was planting between where the things were just composting and kind of dying there all year, all the stuff. And so anyway, I had a lot of cantaloupes. Well, I figured out it was the possums eating the cantaloupes.
Now, okay.
But
a possum's face, the way they're shaped.
Yeah.
They cannot bite into something like a whole cantaloupe. That cantaloupe has to be rotted and caved in somewhere for them to get that initial bite in. So when people say, oh, the possums are eating our fruit, if the fruit's not off the tree and rotted,
yeah,
not a possum that's done that. Well, now another animal like
raccoon could have opened it, and then the possum ate on it afterwards.
Right. The possums are opportunists.
The possums seem to be what we had in our trap most of the year. Now, of course, we're catch and release. We catch them and release them, and we're just trying to protect the chickens, and we just release them out in the country. And he has the same place he drops them off to. And that way, I guess if they're a family, they can reconnect with each other.
You really want possums in your garden because they're eating the rodents. They eat ticks. They eat anything that's rotting. They will strip a cabbage to eat the bottom of the cabbage. Why? Because there are slugs, and they love slugs like they love candy. I'm gonna post a link. And I dare everyone in the chat to go watch this, and you too, Gail. And if you don't laugh, I don't know how to make you laugh.
Okay.
It's a short.
Let's keep my critters. Yeah. Well, I usually have enough of stuff planted that a little bit of that is okay. And really, the only thing that they messed with at all was the cantaloupe. Nothing else was messed with.
So you maybe do deer?
No. It's a small city, so no, we're not country enough to have deer.
Okay.
It's just a small city of like 5,000 people. It's a tiny city.
Do you have something like a groundhog or something that could start chewing on those overnight? And
I mean, we've never caught anything in the trap, so there's no indication of it. Last year, we mostly caught possums in the trap.
Yeah. Well, possums, someone was just saying they'll kill and eat chickens. I have never had a possum kill an adult chicken. They'll eat eggs. A raccoon will come in. You can, when an animal's has killed a chicken, you can basically tell by what parts are missing who killed it. If the head's gone, it's usually a raccoon or of an animal.
Yeah.
Like a raccoon.
Well, I already know that the year we had the 4 chickens killed, it was a raccoon. And then Lisa informed me that they do not kill your chickens. If the chicken is laying there half dead, they'll go ahead and help themselves, but they're not going to be the one to actually kill it. So I'm not worried about them anymore, just the raccoons.
Yeah, the raccoons, and they're so smart. And they've got those little fingers, and they can undo locks. We lost 2 chickens this winter to a fox. That we had built this welded wire chicken house that we thought was predator proof, but we didn't replace the older wire in the older part of the chicken house. And that darn thing was going down to ground level behind a raised bed, getting between the back of the raised bed and the wire and forcing that wire open just big enough to get his body in. And the reason we know it's a fox is the hole was only about the size of what a cat would fit through. And the chicken would be gone. No sign of feathers, nothing. So it would grab the chicken and go back out. And, fox can bend themselves and contort. So the other people who do wildlife, I consulted them. I said, could this be anything other than a fox? And they said, fox or weasel. And we have weasels here in Georgia. So we've had to go back and put the welded wire everywhere. And we haven't, knock on wood, haven't had any problems.
Right after the chicken massacre of several years ago, quite a few raccoons were caught and released. And so that's how we know it was the raccoon, because that's what we were catching mostly that year. Later on, we did catch some skunks, and last year we caught mostly possums.
Yeah, well, keep your possums around because they really are. They'll eat lizards, snakes, mice.
We like them eating the mice, that's for
sure.
And
they 5,000 ticks a season.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be nice too. They sound like they have some good benefits there. So I feel like there was one that had befriended my cats outside and was eating with them out there because there's food and water. So I think when they were done eating, he would go over there, he or she would go over there and eat after them.
Absolutely. I love them since I've gotten to know them. They're one of my favorite animals. Like we've got one that's crippled behind me in this cage. Is it out yet? It's time for her to come out. I've got macaroni and cheese in there for her right now. I'm surprised she's not out there eating it. Yeah. So anyway, that's our life here on the homestead. Is we live with our wild animals.
Do you do an actual compost bin, or do you do mostly compost in place type method?
Charlie built using wooden pallets. He built like a C-shaped structure. It's open on one side, but it's got walls across the back and on the side. And anything that rots goes in there except for meat products. You don't want protein in your compost. So chicken poop, comfrey, yard clippings, kitchen clippings, and we know the wildlife comes and paws through it. But anything like that goes into the compost. And once a year, maybe sometimes twice a year, depending upon how high it's getting, we'll take that out. We'll put it. He built a wooden frame that fits over our wagon. We've got one of those gorilla wagons, and it's got hardware cloth across the bottom. And you shovel your compost into that, and you screen it. You just rub your hands over it, and you get a really nice screened soil out of that. And then we top off our raised beds with that. And we really don't use that much fertilizer. Every now and then he'll go get a commercial fertilizer, much to my displeasure, and broadcast it.
That's one of my things I forget to do in the garden is to actually fertilize stuff after it's planted. Like I get it planted, I keep it watered. I try to keep it the weeds out, but for fertilizing seems to be the thing I forget the most for some reason.
So last year I tried something that I saw on another YouTuber's content, and that was using alfalfa. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to add that this year to my potting. Like I compost my own stuff. Then I add a little nice topsoil to it. And I was thinking about adding the alfalfa to the mix of that.
We bought the horse pellets that looks like rabbit food, basically. Mm-hmm. And I tried it a couple of different ways. I broadcast it in between the pepper plants. We planted 94 or 96 pepper plants in the front yard. I told you I was nuts with peppers, right? And another way I did it is we use 5-gallon buckets from Firehouse Subs, which is a much better price than Home Depot. Okay, Firehouse Subs around here, $3 gets you the lid and the bucket, and Home Depot is like $4 to $5 for the bucket, and you pay separate from the lid. That's the sidetrack. Anyway, filled it a quarter of the way up with the pelleted alfalfa, and then topped it off with rainwater, and you let that ferment a couple of days, and then you cut that liquid in half again, and then you use that to drench your plants or spray around your plants. And
like make a compost tea with it.
Yeah, compost tea.
Oh.
And then you don't throw the soggy stuff out once you get the liquid out. You can take it with a shovel or a trowel and put it down the rows in between your plants.
Oh.
And it'll continue to decompose.
Yeah, I heard that on somebody's channel last year, and it might have been Urban Harvest. I'm not sure. It might have been his channel. I'm not sure. But I heard about that last year, and I said, I want to implement that this year. And we actually use it for our chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we buy it pretty commonly, and I believe I need to do it, but I do couponing stuff. And if you buy the pellets of the Stanley alfalfa pellets, if you buy that and you cut out the UPC and you send a letter to the company, they will send you a coupon for a free bag that you can cash in at Old Tractor Supply of a whole bag of it. So I have from when we bought it for the chickens. I'm going to see if I can get a free bag and use that one for my gardening.
Well, would you do me a favor and do the same experiment I did with using just by broadcasting and then doing the fermentation, and let me know which one worked for you best?
Either putting it in there straight or doing the fermenting. Yeah, sure.
That would
I love that idea. I mean, this is brand new, something I'm one little thing that I'm going to try to implement this year. So that's one thing that I'm going to try to do. And I'm going to try to get mine free if I can. So if you happen to have that UPC off your Stanley bag, save it, letter it, and get your free bag. That thing is worth it.
I can do that.
Yeah.
But I still have a bag left.
I just started back on my couponing thing. And so I'm going to try to do some lives every, once or twice a month. And I'm going to try to do one video, see how that goes. And then I'm going to decide how often I do it. And I might post it on the weekend when I really don't post content normally anyway, and just see how it goes. So if that's something you are interested in, go by and leave me a comment and I'll keep putting out videos. So I'm saving. Yeah. I just ordered
everybody who's listening and wants to try that, get back with us. Let us know how it worked for you.
Yeah. Free. Yeah, free. And that bag is $20 to $25. Seriously. I mean, I went almost a whole year without buying cat food one year because of.
You got to teach me how to do this. I am not
couponing. Well, the video will be coming out. So if you guys if you want the videos to continue, go by and leave comments and watch those videos. And that way if I get a lot of views on it and people share it and it looks like it's doing well, I'll continue so long as I'm being encouraged to do so. So I'm going to decide how.
Stroking.
Yeah. And then I've already scheduled 2 couponing lives. Now next week, we're going to do coupon talk with Katahdin Mountain Mama Homestead. She does a different kind of couponing. She does like that Walgreens and all the other stuff that I don't do. She does that. So I'm going to try to learn that with her. And then
my problem is I don't use a lot of pre-prepared stuff.
Yeah, but I think what we were like the alfalfa. That's Stan Lee. That is a product a lot of homesteaders use. And there's still always just maybe something, tomato sauce or sour cream, or maybe something you don't make yourself or do yourself that you could. There's always something probably that you make maybe you don't make your own sugar, or you don't make your own flour or something. There'll be something there.
Something somewhere.
Something somewhere. Yeah. Because some of the people are like, I don't buy any prepackaged stuff. I'm like, yeah, but you got to feed your chickens, right? You got to feed your animals. See, those things are included in it. So
okay, well, you hooked me. I'll be there.
Matter of fact, the pet food stuff is so popular. I need to just make a video on just that, because people, I mean, who doesn't have a cat or a dog and want some free food for their cat or their dog?
Me, cats and dogs.
Mm-hmm.
You should
hygiene products. Yeah, there's a lot of hygiene products. Yeah, and I want to learn how Robin from Katahdin Mountain Mama, I want to learn how she does what she does, because what she's doing, I'm going to ask questions because I don't know what she's doing. And while I'm talking to her, I'll tell her kind of about how I do things. So we're going to get a little of how she does it and a little of what I do, and kind of you'll get to learn some from both of us on that. And then I'm going to have Milk and Honey Heritage Farms on there, who doesn't do a lot of couponing, but she's going to come on and just ask me questions. She's going to be like, okay,
anyone in the chat have any questions? We've kind of bounced all over the place here tonight.
Oh, I know. I wrote down just a few little things.
Okay, I'll shut.
Let's see. Oh, I was going to ask you on your herbs. Do you grow most of your herbs in small containers or pots or raised beds or straight in the ground? I was just going to ask you, because I know you focus a lot on herbs. So I was going to ask you kind of how hello, Suburban Hillbilly, what kind of containers you grow your stuff in.
Well, I do a lot of companion planting, because, the herbs can enhance flavors of some things that they're planted near, or discourage certain types of pests. So I tend to integrate my herbs with my vegetable plants and flower plants. But last year I decided to try some herbs in my green stock planter. And the thyme and oregano did fantastically. I did one planter mostly with the oregano and thyme, and purslane, because purslane's edible, right? It's really quite nice. It's high in antioxidants, and it blooms those bright, cheerful flowers. And although the thyme and the purslane and the oregano, they don't like to be wet, right? So I'm putting herbs and green stock planters this year that like the same type of environment. And I'm going to see if I can just, like with the thyme, I just had to go out and cut it, like give it a haircut all the way up these 5 stacked containers. It was beautiful and healthy and lush. So what do I grow it in? I grow it in green stock planters, but usually the raised beds in between other edibles.
Yeah. I usually grow my basil with my tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I grow my marigolds with my zucchini to help with the squash bugs and all that stuff. And I don't have any problems with the pest on my squash, me personally, because I've always planted them with marigolds. And that works for me here in Texas. But apparently other people, that doesn't work for them. But It works for me.
But Indiana Backyard Gardener taught me last year, this hats off to you, Adrienne, to do trap planting. And here in Georgia, they should declare the vine borer or the cucumber beetle the state bugs, because
Yeah, I learned about kind of spreading your squash out some.
well, she had me
So I
plant
did that.
Hubbard. I
Plant
planted
what?
blue Hubbard squash, and all the bugs went to there, and it didn't kill that plant. We got a nice big fat blue Hubbard, and we actually got candy roasters and other types of squash we have been unable to grow because we put that blue Hubbard in. So try that.
Last year was my first year to grow butternut squash, and I really like the flavor of it.
Yeah, that's yummy.
And usually it's always been zucchini was my favorite, but I'm really liking the butternut squash. And this year is going to be my first year for spaghetti squash. So I ordered seeds for that from M.I. Gardener.
You know, I don't enjoy spaghetti squash. To me, it doesn't have a flavor.
Yeah.
How do you cook yours?
Well, I haven't had it yet, so I don't know. But I'm trying to do kind of a healthy eating type plan. So partially, I'm going to use it like pasta, like spaghetti, like a noodle, and put like spaghetti over it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I intend to use it. So far, and I'm gonna look up other recipes. But yeah, I'm new to it. So last year I learned about how to. What's that?
Suburban Hillbilly is saying she added 4 green stalks last fall, and that the green beans did fantastic. Only if my husband won't eat green beans, so I don't grow a whole lot of them. The best thing about green stalks for me is the feral can't dig or lay in them.
Yeah.
You want to have a mean streak, plant catnip, and they can't figure out how to get to it.
I did plant catnip in a planter last year just to see what the cats outside would do.
Well, I plant catnip, and all the cats come here to get stoned.
Yeah. I didn't really notice it. If they had any reaction to it or anything, I don't really know. I never noticed anything. It was there. I don't know.
Had another question for me?
Have you ever do you grow lavender?
Oh, all over the place.
So how long ago was it when you planted one like for the first time?
In my life?
No, I mean the last time you planted one from a seed from the beginning.
I usually don't get it from seed. I usually do cuttings.
Cuttings, yeah. Are they hard to grow from seed?
I don't have a whole lot of luck germinating.
Yeah.
So I do cuttings on the rosemary and the lavender and citrus trees and Barbados cherries and those type of things are all from cutting.
Yeah. I'm going to try it. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to try lavender.
But I've got one bush out here in the front yard that I thought last year would probably die. But
I heard once they grow, though, they go crazy and come back up and all the stuff. But
it's been in there since 2014, which is when we moved here. But it looks kind of senile at this point.
This is going to be my first year to have a whole bed that's just going to be all perennial, all stuff that comes back on its own.
Yeah. Well, mine don't drop leaves. They still have their foliage. So, but you have to play with your lavender varieties because different varieties respond to your initial environment differently. Like I've found out something called phenomenal lavender is what likes it here in Georgia.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what kind I bought, but that's the kind I'm trying this year.
But I cook with it. Do you cook with yours?
I haven't had it yet, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably going to use it for soap making partially.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I have planned specifically. Sometimes I'll grow things, and then when it actually works, then I try to figure out how to use it. I have to make sure it's going to grow first. Like first year I did dill, no luck. Last year I did dill, it was as tall as me. So then I had to figure out, what do I do with this dill? So I dehydrated the dill and made up a whole bunch of ranch, the powdered ranch like you buy at the store.
Uh-huh.
I made a whole thing of that. So you just use it for cooking.
Oh, that sounds great. I've never had dill that tall.
And then I also have some that's just by itself in case I just need dried dill for something.
All right, we use a lot of dill here. But the lavender I'll melt, I'll take 3 tablespoons of lavender blossoms and grind them up and add it to a stick of melted butter and 3 tablespoons of honey. And that is wonderful over pasta or chicken or fish. I've heard that over asparagus.
They do it a lot on MasterChef and Hell's Kitchen. They cook with the fancy stuff like that. And I've never thought of it, but I'll probably try something if I can successfully grow it. But there's no need to look it up until I see it actually coming up. And then I'll like, okay. Just like last year, the lemon balm came out. I was like, lemon balm. Okay, what do I do with this? So then I had to start looking stuff up.
Once Melissa moves in, she's there, and that's Melissa officinalis is the scientific name for lemon balm. So you've got Melissa in the family. She's there to stay.
Yeah, that's in my perennial bed, so she should come up. I have her. I was gonna say her. I have her. I have lemon balm. I have ground cherry. And then I'm going to also put sage and oregano in that bed. And there's one other thing, but it's all going to be stuff that just comes up on its own.
That's great. It sounds like a nice plan.
Yeah. I've never done it before, but I try to do something new every year. And
every year is different. There's always learning something.
It is. I try to learn, and things that I did not accomplish last year, I try to keep trying. However, I do admit a little bit of defeat on the whole loofah thing. Me and loofah do not get along.
What happened?
3 years. The first year I got some little ones. And then where they were at, they got flooded out, and the thing they were growing on went down. So that was that. Then they got attacked by ants. And then the next year they got attacked by ants. And also drought. We had real extreme drought 2 years. So I don't know.
Well, we didn't have a whole lot of loofah last year. I think my romance is over with tromboncini squash. We still have some left to eat from last year. It just doesn't taste like anything to me. I like it young. It's like zucchini, but once it turns pumpkin colored, I was looking forward to maybe a flavor like butternut, but it just doesn't have much flavor to me. And again, wherever you are in the world growing, your vegetables are impacted by your soil. So something that doesn't taste like much to me, grown at your location, may be delicious. So don't go by what I'm saying going, nah. Try it. But
somebody sent me a squash, and it's not been put in my seeds to grow this year yet, but it's in there somewhere, some kind of unique squash. And I need to go dig in my thing and find it, because I do like to try new things. And squash grows great in Texas. In this area, it grows awesome. MasterChef, yeah.
Yeah. Someone was saying that their loofah, they let them get too big before they pick them. You've got to pick them when they're the size of a zucchini, basically, to be able to enjoy them as a vegetable. Any longer than your hand, and they're going to start getting pithy. Just let it turn into a sponge.
Last year was the first year I shredded zucchini and put it up into 2-cup increments and put it in the freezer. This last year was the first year to do that. So far, I've used it for zucchini bread, and of course, I squeezed it all out, the moisture, and then I've used it for the pasta. and then put spaghetti sauce over it. So I used it. It was just, I thought I'd try it out, and I was like, oh man, now I know what I'm going to do with some of my zucchini next year. I'm going to use it for I'm going to use it for a pasta alternative.
That sounds good, actually.
Yeah, it was good. And it's not like you go buy some weird pasta that Dr. Gundry tells you to go do, and your husband's looking at you like you're crazy, like, what is this? You put it under, you heat it up, and then you put your stuff over it, and your brain knows what it is, so you don't get all freaked out thinking, what is this weird stuff I'm eating? So it was great. I enjoyed it. It was filling. At the end, I had a little bit left, so it was filling. So I liked it. And I'm thinking I could probably use spaghetti squash pretty similar to how I use the zucchini.
Let us know how it is, how you like it.
Yeah.
But the times I've tried the spaghetti sauce, squash, it just tastes like hard water to me. It's just no flavor.
I don't know. We'll see. Last year was my first year to ever have butternut squash. This year will be my first year to have spaghetti squash.
Have you tried English custard? English custard squash.
No.
You know what the scallop squash looks like? It's kind of a disc with a flower. Yeah, but the English custard is not like a disc. It puts on like a bulb at the bottom with that kind of flowery looking top to it. Man, was that good. That was so good. Baked, you cut off a little hole in it and you stuff it with either fruit and nuts or maybe some bread stuffing and bake it. Oh my gosh. English custard squash. Baker Creek used to have it. By the way, have you guys, everyone in this chat, have you noticed that Baker Creek's seed selection right now is like pretty scary? Like they don't have a whole lot of variety? I think Gail froze. Patty pan, right, Suburban Hillbilly. Yeah. Patty pan squash with like a belly on it. We lost Gail. Am I still here? Uh-oh. So I don't know if you're listening to me at this point or...
You got lost.
I got lost. Did I get lost?
I don't know. Where would I go? Our channel?
Yeah, y'all still here. So I'm still there. I'm having people tell me I'm still here.
Okay.
So the patty pan squash. This is the English custards is bigger. The patty pans are about like that, right? English custard was about like this with a butt on it, like a bowl on the bottom, and it was so delicious. Okay, Gail, you coming back? So don't everyone talk at once here. Type dolphin to drop your link. I'm going to try that. I see some people in the chat here that I don't recognize that I would like to invite you all over to my place. Yeah. Ariel is listening. So am I boring you? Are we boring you? Are you guys enjoying what we're talking about, hopefully? I guess we're stuck here all night, Gail. Did you have another question, Gail? Okay. One last night editing. Yeah, but I'll go back. Gail's going to end it. Oh, I'm so sorry. What kind of doggy? So if Gail's going to end the live, I'm I'll go back to making these. Gail, thank you for asking me in to your live chat, and I've enjoyed everyone. I hope people don't feel like we've ignored them. Hey, Grow Big TV, you just showing up? Gail's battery died, so she kind of poofed and she's talking in the chat. Gee, I wish you'd been here for it. We covered all sorts of things. Okay, she's a Yorker mix with we don't know what. She's a foster fail. Oh, I did fostering too. I had to stop it because I had too many foster fails. Yeah. So, Joe, go back and watch if you have time to watch the replay on this. Would love to see some comments, and we are asking all sorts of advice and seeing if you'd like to partake in with what did we say, Gail? The use of pelleted alfalfa in the garden. And I hope a lot of people will try that, and then we can all get together this fall and talk about the results. So, are you shutting us down, Gail? So I don't know, Gail's shutting us down. I'm kind of waiting for the world to go dark here. Gee, I wonder what an Uber would be like between Atlanta, Georgia, and Gail's house. Joe, come pick me up. We'll go. Oh, the conversations we'd have on the way. So I don't know if Gail's shutting us down or not. I don't want to hit the end button without her ending the broadcast. So we're waiting on you, Gail. I guess she can end it. I think she's trying to figure it out. Can y'all kind of feel her trying to get back in to shut us down? Or do you want me to shut us down, Gail? Joe, we're stuck. Hey, Lori. All right, everyone. I'm going to say goodnight because my hostess is stuck in the internet land. So I want to wish everybody a good night. Thank you, Gail, for having me. I got to go break up a cat fight. See ya. Oh, my goodness.